Hey, what's up everyone? Mastermind here. Today, I'll be talking about Nintendo's most successful handheld, the Nintendo DS. So the Nintendo DS is currently Nintendo's best-selling handheld console, well at least until the making of this video, since the Nintendo Switch is slowly catching up. These consoles were released in 2004 as the successor of the Game Boy Advance, so having two variants released apart from the DSi. One is the Nintendo Fat version and one is the Nintendo Lite version. The main selling point of these handhelds is, as obviously stated, the two TFT LCDs as stated in their names as dual screen, but the bottom LCD being a resistive touchscreen. So these consoles came with a stylus, as seen here, to press down on the resistive touchscreen, or a wrist strap. Usually for the Nintendo DS Fat, it came with a wrist strap. So you would put this in your thumb and you would play it as a stylus itself. Comparing these two units, the main difference is the size and weight. So the DS Lite being more sleeker and compact as opposed to the Nintendo DS Fat. It's actually easier to grip in this one because I have small hands, so the grip is better for me than the Fat version. So control layout is still the same, the basic ABXY, start select, directional pad, and L1 R1 layout of the Nintendo controllers. Both have the Game Boy ports at the bottom, as seen here. The DS Lite having a Game Boy slot cover, so you can just remove this and pop your Game Boy cartridge. They also have the same processors, being at 256 KB of memory. Both have stereo speakers, a microphone, since some games require you to record or speak in the microphone. They've also improved the battery life of both. Are also backwards compatible for the Game Boy Advance, giving it a very wide game library at the launching of its consoles. Also, they have wireless communication, so you may chat with other Nintendo DS users within the vicinity. Let's check out the IOs of the Nintendo DS. So at the upper part of the DS, we have the charging ports, the DS slot, the lanyard strap, or where you tie in the lanyard or the wrist strap. So for the Fat, we have the stylus here, placed at the top of the unit, while in the Nintendo DS Lite, it is situated in the side of the unit itself, near the power button. So at the bottom of the unit, we have the headphone jack, we have the Game Boy Advance slot, and the volume rocker. So for the light indicator, we have here the Nintendo DS at the upper right of the unit, while at the bottom we have the light indicators of the Fat version. So for the cartridge, we have a standard cartridge here of the Nintendo DS. It's a bit different from the Game Boy Advance cartridge, so they've really come a long way. So this one is slotted here, so you just pop it in at the DS slot, open the unit, turn on the unit. So it should come up in the menu of the DS. For the Game Boy Advance slot, you can also put this here, turn it on, and there it is. You can either start the DS game or the Game Boy Advance game. So there are many games that utilize this Game Boy slot as an additional accessory or an additional peripheral or an additional controller. For you to play that game, you would need to insert that peripheral here, then you would need to insert the game here, and then use it as a additional controller or an accessory for that game to run properly. So in this video, we will be covering some of the accessories of the Nintendo DS that either utilizes this Game Boy slot or any other sort of gimmick that we can connect in the Nintendo DS itself. So let's move on to the next one. Alright, let's check out some of these accessories I've purchased in Japan for the Nintendo DS. So these games are going to be in Japanese, but I'll try my best to understand the game itself. I'm gonna be using my light version for the testing of this, so since it's easier to hold. First off, we have the face training game. So this game was a Japanese release only game where you point the camera in your face and mimic the face shown in the game. So let's open this and see what's inside. Okay, so here is what's inside the box. We have the cart itself with the camera, which will be connected to the Game Boy Advance. So you would just slide it here and the camera will show. So you can also press this to extend the camera. This is the cart itself, so you would just pop this in to play the game. So it's also worth noting that it came with a stand. Well, this is actually a vertical stand for the Nintendo DS, since you would be playing this vertically. So you would just slide this here and you would have a stand. You would just put the Nintendo DS just like that. So for the purpose of demonstration, that's how it should stand up in the Nintendo DS. So let's check what the camera looks like. So it should look like that, the camera. You can just also pop this like that. So basically this game is for face training. You would just copy what the face is shown here and the camera will track the movements of your face. So if you move your eyes, the sensor of the camera will actually follow the movement of your eyes. So yeah, I think this is a great accessory for the Nintendo DS, since the DS itself did not come with the built-in camera, unlike the DSi, which has a built-in camera in the unit itself. So this is a full view of the camera. So there is a slider here which pops out the camera. Yeah, so yeah, I think this is a nifty accessory for the Nintendo DS. Alright, next game we have the slide controller for the Nintendo DS. So this game, called the Slide Adventure Magic Kid, came bundled with a slide controller which works like an optical mouse where you move the DS around to control the player or the character inside the game. Okay, so this is the slide controller itself. So this one would be slotted in our Game Boy Advance slot, and it should light up this optical light. So this is the game itself. Let's pop this in. Let's remove the slot cover and let's pop the slide controller in. So your Game Boy or your Nintendo DS would actually look like this when you're playing. It's a bit tilted when you play it, and you would need a flat surface for the optical mouse or the optical laser to function properly. So as you can see, when I move around the DS, the bottom screen also follows. It's not really readable since it's Japanese, but as you can see, we can play the game by moving the slide controller and the DS around So it should be lighting up as red here, like an optical mouse. Okay, next accessory is this pedometer for the Nintendo DS. So in the US version, this is called Personal Trainer Walking. So this game came with two pedometers, and basically it tracks your walking or running or jogging activities while you're carrying this in your pocket. So let's see what's inside. So as you can see, it's blinking red. That means when it senses movement, it blinks red and it tracks your walking or your jogging or your running. So it actually has a built-in infrared sensor here. Same with the cart, it has a built-in infrared sensor here. So let's connect the two together. So you just face it here. Yeah, so it's one of those DS games that has Mii characters on it, which is quite few actually. You can also transfer your Mii character here from your Wii. So here's one of the mini games. So it runs through the screen, and depending on the number of steps you've taken, it actually draws an image. So if you finish the number of steps taken, it will actually complete the image itself. So let's see if what image is going on here. So yeah, there you have it. That's the image when you reach the goal. Alright, next is the DS TV tuner. So this is an accessory where you would just put the DS here in the DS slot, and you would able to receive channels within your area. So I think this only works in the Japanese area. So let's open it and see what it looks like. So it has three items inside. One is the antenna itself. Second is a bunch of suction cups, which we will get to later on. And the third one are a bunch of wires. We will check them all later. So this is the unit itself. So you just I remove the plastic lock, pull up the antenna. This is where the DS slot will be slotted in, and I think this will be good to go. It functions as a regular game. So I think these are the channels. We can pull up the antenna here at the top to receive a wider coverage, but since everything now is mostly digital and this mostly works on analog, it won't work in the country I'm in. So for the wires here, these are actually the extension of the antenna so that you can have a greater coverage of signal. So you would just connect this 3.5 here at the side of the TV tuner. Put the suctions here in this sort of like prongs. You can slot them here. You can just insert these here, and then just once all of the suctions are here, you can just stick it in a more favorable position, like a glass window, and you would have a wider coverage of signal for the Nintendo DS. So yeah, I think this is a cool accessory where you can watch TVs for your Nintendo DS. So lastly, we have Learn with Pokemon Typing Adventure. So this is, as the name itself suggests, is a typing game where you type in the letters or the words that are coming out of the screen. So it actually comes with a Bluetooth keyboard that connects with the cartridge itself. So let's open it up first and see what's inside. So we have the game itself, and this would be the Bluetooth keyboard. So actually this came with two colors. We have the white one here, but there's also a black keyboard made for this. So this is what it looks like. It's just like a regular keyboard. This is the on and off, and this is the battery slot. So it requires two AA batteries. So let's just put two AA's and test it out. Okay, so it also came with a DS stand. So you can place your DS here while playing the game itself, since it requires you to just watch the game in your DS and just play it on your keyboard. So as you can see, it is already connected. If in case it will not connect to your DS, just hold the function button until it will connect to your DS card. So the Bluetooth itself is in the DS card. So as you can see, you can also use it as your controller. So this game also has a boss battle. You should be fast enough to type in the letters. So the layout is a bit different. So it is also worth noting that the Bluetooth keyboard is compatible to any Bluetooth device like your laptop or your cell phone. For that to function, just turn on the Bluetooth here, press the function key, then let your laptop or your cell phone scan for devices. So it should come up as a keyboard in your device. Once you want to pair the device here, just type in the code that shows up in your laptop or your cell phone. Just type it here and then press enter. Then it should connect as a typical Bluetooth keyboard. If you want, I can show a separate video for that, or a short video, so that I can demonstrate how to connect this into your laptop or your cell phone or your any mobile Bluetooth device. I think the keyboard layout of this is a bit different from the standard one. It takes a lot of getting used to, especially for those who have big hands but usually have small hands here. So it's perfect for me, but there are some functions here that are not in your standard typical keyboard, like the delete should be pressed as function then delete, the escape should be function, and this button right here. So but it is a cool idea that a Nintendo DS peripheral can be used as a standard keyboard. Okay, so as a bonus, we have this game called DS Bimoji Training, or known as DS Beautiful Letter Training, roughly translated. Basically, this is a game to practice how to write kanji. It just checks your kanji writing and grade your work. So it shows a bunch of kanji characters. and then you would just trace on how you can or how you write that kanji character. So I included this in this video because it comes with a its own stylus, as you can see here. So I think this would be a much better use for writing since it's longer and it's a bit thick on this side. So you have to write it in 3 strokes as stated here. Although I'm not very good at kanji. And I think this is a much better feel than the stylus since the stylus is a bit short and a bit thin to write here, but you can still use it as an option. But this would be a much better fit. Although it does take a much more harder press than the stylus. So it grades your work as, and then mine is graded as 60. Okay, so I think these accessories are actually pretty good. They actually need these accessories to play the game itself. So except for this one, it's already peripheral to watch TV. So I think they're pretty niche, and yeah, some are actually fun if some have English releases. I think this one had an English release. This one only works in Japan. You can play these in Japanese if you can read them. This one actually comes in English. It's in Japanese, but usually the letters are in English. I will also be posting another video on this, on how to connect it to your Bluetooth device on your laptop or on your cell phone. It's actually pretty easy. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'll be covering a lot more accessories for the Nintendo DS once I have them. Make sure to tune in and like and subscribe for my videos, and I'll be seeing you in the next one.